So, to this person on the device just labeled Mac, would you be Stephen Smith?
My Christian appellate name is capital S, lowercase Tepehen, capital S, lowercase Mith.
Okay, so that would be a yes. Thank you. Deputy Sims. Now calling 24W003208A, the Township of Ypsilanti versus Stephen Cameron Nigel Smith. Deputy Sims, state your name for the record.
Deputy Sims.
Thank you. Okay, and Mr. Smith, you've already stated and spelled your name out. Thank you. Today is the date and time set for an informal hearing in this matter. What I have is a citation issued November 17th, 2024, that charges that on or about that date you did operate a motor vehicle on Holmes Road at or near Ford Boulevard. And when you were pulled over, you failed to disclose to the officer that you had a concealed pistol and a CPL. So it looks like you were also cited for having a window tint. I don't have that citation, which presumably means that it was paid. So again, this is a civil infraction. There is no criminal penalty associated with this, no jail time, no probation. There is, however, a fine. Before we get started, Deputy Sims, was there anything that you wanted to say?
No, ma'am, I'm ready to proceed.
Okay, thank you. Just a moment. Okay. So, Mr. Smith.
I want to, may I grant my name to the court and make the court trustee? But the option 3, as your question, I deny responsibility and I have an explanation.
Okay, so if you are denying responsibility, then I'm going to swear you in and swear in the deputy, and I will take testimony from both sides. So let me explain how this is going to work. After I have sworn you both in, I am going to take testimony from Deputy Sims first, because Deputy Sims is the officer in charge of issuing the citation. That means he's basically the plaintiff in this matter, okay? Once he has finished his testimony, which you are not to interrupt, it will be your turn to testify. He is not to interrupt you either. After I've heard the testimony from both sides, I will make a decision based on preponderance of the evidence. As I stated before, that is a 49% to 51% standard. So basically, whoever's testimony is...
I do comprehend.
Thank you. Okay, raise your right hand, Deputy Sims, and Mr. Smith, you will have to tell me when it's raised if you're not turning your camera on.
It's raised.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to the best of your information, knowledge, and belief, Deputy Sims?
I do.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Deputy Sims, you may proceed with your testimony.
On 11/17/2024, about 3 a.m., my partner and I observed a black Ford Fusion. It was on Ford Boulevard. I believe it had just turned onto Ford Boulevard with tinted windows. Proceeded after the car. It turned into the gas station there on the corner, and we followed it into the gas station and proceeded towards one of the exits. Before it returned to the road, the driver, Mr. Smith, exited and began yelling at us. At that point in time, we activated our emergency lights and conducted the traffic stop there. We made contact with him, explained the reason that we had followed behind him. And when I approached the vehicle, I looked in the vehicle and I observed a firearm on the passenger seat. At no point in time during that did I hear I have a CPL until after the firearm was located. He was detained, his CPL was verified, he was issued the citations and released.
And did you have any evidence or witnesses or any other testimony that you wish to present?
Not at this time.
Okay. Mr. Smith, it is your turn.
I want to mention there's no damaged property or victim under sworn oath. Also, I believe I was being racially profiled. I had been pulled over, which I did stop, and I was let go because I wasn't suspected of any crimes, just as I wasn't suspected of any crimes by him as well, as he mentioned. We had sat in the intersection, which I was in the middle of a DoorDash, and I wanted to get on my phone to see where I was at. When I looked away from my phone, I seen him, the officer, and another deputy, or whoever it may have been, an officer, also sitting in the middle intersection for about 30 seconds, maybe to even 60 seconds. So he could see me through my windshield. While I believe it was racial profiling, considering the area we were in, it wasn't the best area. So when I pulled, which I did use my turn signal, and it was a stop sign, or it was a light, a signal light. So when the light turned green, I turned right with my turn signal. I also turned signaled into the gas station, which I was going to stop to check my phone because, like I told the officer that had pulled me over 10 minutes before, which I'm sure he heard on the radio call, I was door dashing, which I had admitted to both of the officers. He called another officer in response to what he calls me pulling myself over. He never admitted to pulling me over. He said I pulled myself over. I got out the car to explain myself that I was door dashing and that I felt like I was being harassed because I was just previously pulled over. I did not have a firearm on person, and he didn't have a reason to suspect me of any crimes or try to search my vehicle. I was illegally searched on person without my disclosure. I told them I don't consent to any searches, and they were digging in my pockets. I have a legal license, and I'm not suspected of any crimes. So after he said I pulled myself over, he flashed his lights, and they kind of like grabbed me up, and I feel like they assaulted me in a way. And after he figured out that I did have a CPL disclosure, which he never gave me time to disclose because it was not on my person. So I didn't feel the need to because I was not present in my motor carrier for him to be in any type of danger. After he sat me in the car, which I feel like I should not have been detained that way, for about 15 minutes, they let me be on my way with a citation. And I don't believe I deserve the citation. And he doesn't have any evidence of the situation. It's just a presumption with no material.
Does that conclude your testimony?
Yes.
And did you have any evidence or witnesses that you wanted to present?
I have evidence on my phone of me asking him, what their badge numbers was, which they didn't really want to disclose. So I had to look it up on the internet. I have a dash cam, but it was not running at the time.
Apologize because I did actually have the equipment violation citation as well. That is for the window tint. So did you wish to address the window tint specifically?
That's just how the car came. I bought it that way, straight from Ford. So it's
Okay.
three.
In Michigan?
Yes.
Deputy Sims, since I don't think I specifically asked you about the tint either because I had misplaced this on my desk, do you wish to address the window tint?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sure you're aware that no vehicle that comes from the factory has front window tint on it. During his first testimony, he admitted to having window tint and said that we saw him through the windshield, which is not possible at night, but he admitted that there was tint.
May I add something?
You may.
They didn't test any window tint for any type of darkness issues or anything like that. It was just kind of an excuse because that wasn't the first reason that he told me that he pulled me over. It wasn't for window tint. And you can disclose that through the video of his own body cam. They said that they pulled me over because he presumed that I was trying to turn around in the parking lot or evade him, but I was door dashing like I told the officer that pulled me over before.
So, Deputy Sims, I believe when you testified a moment ago, you said you had noticed the window tint. Did you want to respond to that to me, please?
I guess, what are you asking?
You had stated that you initiated the stop, or at least you started to initiate the stop based on observing window tint. Is that correct?
So yeah, I mean, I was with my partner. So there's also the part of he came off of Holmes Road, if I remember correctly, turned right into the parking lot, and then cut through the parking lot to go back onto Holmes Road. It didn't seem like there was any intention of him trying to stop at the store or anything like that. So he's also cutting through the parking lot.
May I add?
You may.
I did not try to cut through the parking lot, as I mentioned before, and prove to the officer before I was door dashing. And if I would have been on my phone, then he would have tried to get me for that as well. So I safely pulled over to where I could view where I was. And it was his presumption that I was trying to turn around in the parking lot, but my car wasn't parked.
Okay, thank you. Give me just a moment. So the court is ready to make a decision in this matter. So in regards to the B ticket, that is the equipment violation, basically having obstructed vision with window tint. At this point, the court is finding you not responsible for the window tint, Mr. Smith, because based on just the testimony today, I don't think there's enough established to confirm whether or not the window tint would have been in violation. Now, regarding the A citation, that being the failure to disclose the CPL, the court is finding you responsible in that matter. And that is, again, based on MCL 28.425F. Basically, an individual licensed under this act to carry a concealed pistol and who is carrying a concealed pistol and who is stopped by a peace officer shall immediately disclose to the peace officer that he or she is carrying a pistol concealed upon your person or in your vehicle.
May I add, please?
Well, no, because at this point I'm making my ruling, and the pistol was in the vehicle. I understand it doesn't sound like you were in the vehicle at this point, but you were engaged with the officer, and it was your responsibility as the person with the CPL to immediately disclose that you had a CPL and that there was a weapon in the vehicle. So you are being found responsible. Again, this is a civil infraction for first offense. There's a fine here of $500, and your license to carry concealed is being suspended for 6 months. Now, what I am going to say is that you do have the right to appeal my decision as the magistrate. If you do so within the next 7 days, the case will be reheard by the judge. So
How do I appeal?
You would have to either consult with an attorney or you can talk to the clerks about getting the paperwork. I cannot give you legal advice. So
Yeah, because I wasn't, as he stated before, sorry, I wasn't actually engaged in a traffic stop. That was the problem.
At this point, the court has made its ruling. This hearing is concluded. I believe that concludes the docket this morning. I have given you an idea of what you can do next, what your options are. You can file an appeal.